Welcome to AI Briefing. The content of the briefing includes: tech giants pour billions into cloud capacity in AI push, U.S. India 2+2, Pacific Islands Forum, China Singles Day War. Two of the world's most powerful tech execs come from the same Taiwanese family. PIMCO, JP Morgan are gearing up for long winter in China markets. Power and promise, how Apple's new computer chips stack up. Tech giants pour billions into cloud capacity in AI push. Financial Times. Amazon, Microsoft, and Alphabet are expected to increase their capital spending as they build up capacity to serve the growth of generative artificial intelligence, AI. The companies, which dominate the global cloud market, have already increased investment in computing infrastructure. Capital spending rose to a combined $42 billion in Q3 2021, up almost 20% from the same period last year. Analysts predict that cloud-related spending will accelerate next year as the companies compete to win new customers with state-of-the-art AI tools and services. Bank of America analysts forecast that cloud-related capex for the three companies will rise 22% in 2022 to $116 billion. U.S. India 2+2, Pacific Islands Forum, China Singles Day War. Nikkei Asia. Leaders of major banks and asset management companies will gather in Hong Kong for an investment summit this week, while executives from China's CATL, Thailand's WHA, and other global companies have been invited by Nikkei to speak at the annual Global Management Dialogue in Tokyo. China will release external trade figures for October and consumer price index data. Singles Day, the nation's annual shopping blitz, closes on Saturday. Two of the world's most powerful tech execs come from the same Taiwanese family. CNN. The chief executives of NVIDIA and AMD, Jensen Huang and Lisa Su, are distant relatives, according to Taiwanese genealogist Jean Wu. Huang is Su's Biaojiu in Mandarin Chinese, which translates to first cousin once removed. The connection, first acknowledged by Su in 2020, has attracted attention in Taiwan, which has become a battleground for the U.S. and China's tech industries. Although they grew up apart, both Huang and Su were raised in tech-focused environments, with Taiwan's tradition of producing world-leading hardware inspiring many young people to pursue careers in technology. Both studied electrical engineering and entered the semiconductor field, with Huang working at AMD before founding NVIDIA in 1993, and Su joining AMD in 2012. Both NVIDIA and AMD sell hardware and software to leading tech companies, and they compete in the gaming and data center markets, as well as the emerging AI chip sector. NVIDIA's stock has rallied 208% this year, while AMD's has risen 73%. PIMCO, JP Morgan are gearing up for long winter in China markets. Bloomberg. A real estate crisis has caused a ripple effect through the Chinese economy. This has caused issues for investors and the country's stocks. The situation has also affected the yuan, which is now at a 16-year low. The Chinese government has chosen not to intervene in the property crisis, which has left investors feeling uncertain about China's economic prospects. However, some investors see this as an opportunity to invest in Chinese stocks. The quality of supply chains in many sectors means that China will remain the manufacturing base of choice for many multinationals. Additionally, the country's lead in battery tech and electric vehicles means that the auto industry has the potential to go global. Policymakers in China are not pursuing growth at all costs and are not interested in supporting ailing property developers. On top of this, the country's rift with Western nations is showing no signs of easing. Some investors are choosing to exclude China from their portfolios due to geopolitical, macro, and regulatory risks. However, this means that investors are missing out on opportunities in the country, as valuations remain low. Power and promise, how Apple's new computer chips stack up. The Sydney Morning Herald. Apple has launched its M3 family of chips, which will begin shipping in devices next week. The new Apple Silicon system-on-a-chip units offer faster processing, improved graphics power and enhanced efficiency. The M3 family includes the M3 Pro, which runs Photoshop filters up to 3 times faster than the fastest Intel models, and the M3 Max, which allows for a MacBook Pro 16-inch with a 40-core GPU, a 16-core CPU, 128 GB of memory and 8 TB of storage. The M3 chips are the first personal computer chips to be made with a new 3nm process. Dressing Paul Mescal and Saoirse Ronan, the Aussie designer taking on Hollywood. The Sydney Morning Herald. Australian costume designer Alice Babbage has said she thought her work on Beau is Afraid was terrible before watching the film, but she was ultimately impressed with the exciting and charming strangeness of the movie. Babbage has worked on Australian films such as Snowtown and The Present, as well as British movie The Daughter. Her largest project to date, Beau is Afraid stars Joaquin Phoenix and is set for release later this year. Striking actors reviewing final offer from Hollywood studios. Reuters. Negotiators for Hollywood actors are considering a new proposal from major studios in an attempt to end the 4-month-long strike, according to the SAG-AFTRA union. The actors are demanding higher compensation in the streaming TV era, as well as protections around the use of artificial intelligence and other improvements. The Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, which represents companies including Walt Disney and Netflix, presented its latest offer on Saturday. Union leaders have expressed cautious optimism that a deal could be reached soon, but there are still gaps between the two sides on various issues, including the use of AI. The strike, along with a strike by the Writers Guild of America that ended in September, has cost the California economy at least $6 billion, according to estimates. Australia is about to see a tsunami of ACL injuries, warns surgeon who fixed Ellie Carpenter's knee. ABC. Orthopedic surgeon Dr. Job Shatrov has expressed concern over the increasing number of young female athletes suffering from anterior cruciate ligament (ACL) injuries. A center dedicated to knee injuries, the Knee Institute, has been opened in Australia by Dr. Shatrov. Female athletes are 8 times more likely to sustain an ACL injury than male athletes, according to some studies. A testing method called the Prepare to Play Triple Hop test has been developed by elite performance coach Dean Benton to identify those at high risk of ACL injuries. The test uses artificial intelligence technology to measure leg power and coordination. Labour Technology Minister suggests robot tax for companies that replace staff with AI. Telegraph. The UK's Labour Party has been considering introducing a robot tax to penalise companies that replace employees with artificial intelligence, AI, according to the Telegraph. The idea was suggested by Alex Davies-Jones, Shadow Minister for Technology and Digital Economy, during a discussion at last month's Labour conference. The party has sought to downplay Davies-Jones' comments, however. Davies-Jones said that the UK was already experiencing very real threats to employment from AI, citing the use of machines in shops as an example. China's fight against deflation may be far from over. Yahoo! According to economists surveyed by Bloomberg, China's consumer prices will most likely show deflation in October. Moreover, producer prices will probably show declines for the 13th month. Inflationary pressures have been weak this year, with the consumer price index slipping into deflation in July. On the other hand, Morgan Stanley sees China facing a prolonged fight against falling prices in the next few years. Beijing is at the early stages of the deflation battle, as China transitions away from an overextended, credit-fueled growth model. In addition, weak inflation figures would result in more uncertainty about the nation's growth outlook after unexpected contraction in factory activity and slowing growth in the services sector in October. Other reports due in the coming days may provide additional clues about the trajectory of the economic recovery. Sun's AI summit scores diplomatic coup but exposes global tensions. Financial Times. The UK's Prime Minister has scored a diplomatic coup by getting US and Chinese officials to agree on the need to control artificial intelligence, AI, according to a delegate at Rishi Sunak's recent AI summit. Despite trade and technological tensions between the US and China, the Chinese delegate, Dr. Wu Jiahui, said the two countries were united by the common values of democracy and freedom in the fight against malicious uses of AI. The summit saw 28 nations make broad commitments to work together to tackle the risks associated with advanced AI. However, underlying tensions were also exposed. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris made it clear that the U.S. intended to write its own rules on AI, claiming that American companies lead the world in AI innovation and could catalyze global action. The U.S. also announced a plan to create its own AI Safety Institute staffed by experts to monitor risks. What's next for Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX executives and investors? Yahoo! Former co-founder and CEO of FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, has been found guilty of all 7 fraud and money laundering charges against him in the U.S. He faces up to 110 years in prison if given maximum sentences. Bankman-Fried is expected to learn his fate on March 28 and his lawyers have indicated they will appeal. He also faces another trial in March over allegations of bribing Chinese officials. Former colleagues of Bankman-Fried also face prison terms, but will likely receive shorter sentences due to their cooperation with the government's prosecution of him. Succession actor Sarah Snook, AI is terrifying. BBC. Actor Sarah Snook believes that the film industry should lead the way in establishing guidelines for the use of artificial intelligence, AI. Snook, known for her role in the TV show Succession, described AI as an uncharted landscape. She made the comments ahead of her role in a London stage adaptation of The Picture of Dorian Gray. Snook was unable to discuss her work on Succession due to the ongoing Hollywood writers' strike, which is also supported by Screen Actors demanding better protections against the use of AI in TV and film productions. Elon Musk's XAI set to launch first AI model to a select group. The Globe and Mail. Elon Musk's artificial intelligence AI startup, XAI, is set to release its first AI model to a select group on Saturday. The model is said to be one of the best currently in existence. Musk announced that once XAI's Grok system is out of early beta, it will be available to all X Premium Plus subscribers. X, formerly known as Twitter, recently introduced new subscription plans, including a $16 per month tier for an ad-free experience. Musk has previously expressed his intention to launch a maximum truth-seeking AI to rival Google's Bard and Microsoft's Bing AI. XAI works closely with Tesla and other companies and has signed a contract to train its AI model on Oracle's cloud. The brain gain hotspots driving a house price boom. Telegraph. Areas that are home to life science and computer programming companies have seen above-average property price increases, according to a report by estate agent Savills. The study found that the average house price in areas where the number of those employed in computer programming exceeds 5% of the workforce is £679,835, $920,000, compared to an average of £199,066 across all areas. The sector has had a similar impact on U.S. property prices, with hubs in cities including Boston, San Francisco, and San Diego experiencing increased housing demand. In the UK, the Thames Valley and areas around Oxford and Cambridge have seen house price increases, as have parts of London and the South East. Lucian Cook of Savills said the shift in the location of hubs from London could lead to the creation of mini belts around Oxford, Cambridge, and the Thames Valley. That's all for today's news briefing. Let's recap the highlights. First, we have the tech giants Amazon, Microsoft, and Alphabet ramping up their investment in cloud infrastructure to meet the growing demand for artificial intelligence (AI) services. Analysts predict that cloud-related spending will continue to rise as these companies compete for new customers with state-of-the-art AI tools. Next, we learned that the CEOs of NVIDIA and AMD, two leading tech companies, are actually distant relatives. Both grew up in Taiwan's tech-focused environment and have made significant contributions to the semiconductor field. They now compete in the gaming, data center, and AI chip sectors. Moving on, there's been a real estate crisis in China that has had ripple effects throughout the economy. Investors are feeling uncertain about China's economic prospects, but some see this as an opportunity to invest in Chinese stocks, especially considering the country's strong manufacturing base and lead in battery tech and electric vehicles. Apple has also made headlines with the launch of its new M3 family of chips, which offer faster processing, improved graphics power, and enhanced efficiency. These chips will be shipping in devices soon, and they mark a significant advancement in personal computer chip technology. In other news, negotiations between Hollywood actors and major studios continue as the actors demand higher compensation in the streaming TV era. The strike has had a significant impact on the California economy, costing at least $6 billion. And lastly, we heard from an orthopedic surgeon in Australia who expressed concern over the increasing number of young female athletes suffering from ACL injuries. A new testing method using artificial intelligence technology has been developed to identify those at high risk. That's a wrap for today. Remember, I'm always here to keep you updated on the latest news and provide my insights. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you make of the tech giants' increased investment in AI? Are you optimistic about the future of Chinese stocks? Let's discuss. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.